There appears to be a feud brewing between multiple factions of the Democratic Party. Some members of the Democratic Socialists of America are threatening to primary Congressman and House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries and 4 others.
Gustavo Gordillo, co-chair of DSA's New York City chapter, told CNN, quote, Jeffries' leadership has left a vacuum that organizations like DSA are filling. I think that it's more important right now. To me, it often seems like he is the one picking the fight with the left, and I think he should focus on fighting the right.
Jeffries' team fired some shots back, one of his senior advisors, Andre Richardson, telling CNN, Leader Hakeem Jeffries is focused on taking back the House from the MAGA extremists who just ripped healthcare away from billions of Americans. However, if Team Gentrification wants a primary fight, our response will be forceful and unrelenting. We will teach them and all of their incumbents a painful lesson on June 23, 2026.
Another Democratic Congressman, Richie Torres, defended Jeffries and told the New York Post, quote, if you side against Jeffries, you're doing the bidding of Donald Trump. You're siding against the black political establishment in the U.S.
Then there's Senator John Fetterman, who gave a pretty blunt assessment of Mamdani during an interview Thursday with Fox News. Let's watch.
Everything that I've read on him, I don't really agree with virtually any of it politically. So that's just where I'm at as a Democrat. I mean, he's not even a Democrat, honestly.
Leave it to Fetterman to ruffle the feathers. Like if they're already ruffling.
I love it. I got to say, I love that guy. He's just so honest. But he's one of the few Democrats who has openly called out Mamdani. I mean, now with this new Jeffries feud. But there's been others like Chuck Schumer who have, tacitly endorsed him on his social media after he won the primary. Kirsten Gillibrand apologizing for going after him for his comments about globalizing the intifada. So it's kind of curious to me that there hasn't been actually more infighting about this until now, because he is a huge departure, of course, from the Democratic establishment.
I think what the election told us last year was that the Democrats needed to completely rebrand, refocus, and reshuffle. And Mamdani, to me, is an exact reflection of that yearning in the party. And even if he's not the answer or the solution, he is just something so much different that is jarring, which I think is a good thing. Primary members that have been in Congress for years and also putting their feet to the fire is important, because the longer that you serve in these roles, the more comfortable you get, right? Your constituents see your name, it's an easy vote, as well as the relationships that you have throughout Washington that make you kind of tied to more special interests than somebody coming in new with new ideas. We see that every time we have a resurrection of a brand new candidate that has a new idea. And even though Mamdani might come from a place of I can do everything because he hasn't been beaten up by the political machine yet, which happens to most people, I think it's important, even if you don't like his ideas, to embrace that there are people in the party that are feeling that way. In the same way that Trump embraced that there are people in this MAGA movement that we weren't calling that, that felt that way. He spoke to them, and then the rest of the Republicans found ways within that movement that they can align with or attach to. So there needs to be a real conversation about the people that are more like Mamdani and the people that are more traditional Democrats and what the actual strategy is. Because the more people that we have on Rising and the more I see people out and about talking about the plan for the midterms for Democrats, it's like we have to sit down and listen to the people and strategize. It's like, okay, you should have done that last year. I don't understand why that's still the message right now when there's been nothing but 4 years of complaints about all that Trump did wrong, comparing him to the worst dictators of all time. It's like, well, he's here now, and the strategy is to get ready in the moment that he's running, and respond to everything, be reactive. So I think that Mamdani is a good step and should be the first step of many new young people coming out to try to recapture that youth vote and the people of color.
Yeah, I think the age and the charisma are both benefits that Mamdani has a lot. I think the one problem that the Democratic Party should be concerned about is, one, he becomes mayor of New York City and he can't accomplish a lot of these policies because the assembly won't go along with him, right? In order to raise taxes on the white wealthy people, as he said he wants to do, he needs assemblymen to go along with that plan. He can't unilaterally do that. So maybe he gets in, he doesn't really accomplish much of his agenda, and the Democratic establishment can say, look, see, progressivism was a failure because real progressivism was really tried. Or the second possibility is that he does all of this and it ends up a disaster, which is my most likely scenario.
What about the third option, that it works out?
That it works. That's like the one I give a 1% chance. But look, I think generally speaking, the Democratic Party, you're right, has had a hard time listening to its base and allowing organic support for candidates. It's been very manufactured. And even now, when they say we need to listen to voters, remember they were putting together this strategy for talking to American men, the SAM project. But in that project where they're actually not talking about listening to American men, it's speaking to American men.
Finding a Joe Rogan.
How to translate their message to American men, how to get the American men to understand that they are misguided. It's never like voter to the Democratic Party. It's always Democratic Party to the voter.
Yeah, I think that I don't know if there's like a group of people that just make the decisions that, I mean, we see all the infighting of, several different parts of the Democratic Party. And I'm just wondering, is everybody not seeing the same thing that I'm seeing? I mean, it's so easy to point out from an analytical perspective, watching the news every day, watching how voters swayed in the last election season. I think that there is space for, because it seems like the Democratic Party has a lot to discuss, from people who want to kind of lean into more of the woke policies that they were laying their hat on for the last few years. And we're like, no, we need to double down and create space for underserved communities. And then there's like the AOC, Bernie Sanders part of the party that wants to just blaze forward and say that we are of the working class. All these other policies are really irrelevant. Get back to talking to the people who are blue collar workers in America. And then there's just a whole new wave that is the Mamdani and everyone else that it just wants to come in with new ideas and kind of just redo the whole thing. And I don't think that those things have to be separate and on islands. I think that they can come together, and I think the best type of parties have different ideas that get to the same end goal, and even how government should work in general, like Republican and Democrat, right? The end goal is still the best lives for Americans. But I think within one party, that's a great brainstorming session to figure out how to then capture all those voters that you lost. Like you said, the Latino community moved away. Some of the black male voters moved away. These are all facts that we saw in polling and how the election turned out. These are people that you can get back with real messaging and actually, aside from your ideas, sitting down at tables and getting in the community and figuring out what people really want outside of the broad stroke messaging, like, okay, the economy's not good, but what exactly would they like to see happen?
One of the things you mentioned was, why do the people on the inside not see what I see sitting on the outside? And I think maybe they do see it, but they're addicted to power. And we see this in both political parties, right? This was a problem with Trump's takeover and remaking of the Republican Party, was that you had, 12 candidates on a debate stage next to him trying anything possible to stop him. They get through Iowa, and all of a sudden everyone's hanging their hat on Ted Cruz. He's going to be the guy to stop him. You have basically every establishment, pollster, vendor, consultant, whatever it is, lining up behind Ted Cruz to try to stop Trump. And even then, even after his first term after he lost 2020, all of these sort of old figures from the Republican Party started coming up again and saying, he's done, guys. He's never coming back. Don't worry about it. We're going to be back to the neoconservative Republican Party again. And then he again proved them wrong. But I mean, people who are in these party establishment positions have a very vested interest in staying there. Financial interest, power interest, even just influence interest. And so all of these things make it very attractive to keep out these young, promising upstarts because they don't want to lose their grip on the party.
Maybe Democrats need their Trump to kick down the door. That'll be insane. Maybe it's Mamdani doing something totally different.
Could be. All right. Has the Trump administration backed off from abolishing FEMA? We'll tell you more on that next.